Well, guys, I'm Steve. Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to another video. If it's your first time stopping by the channel, hit that subscribe button. Trust me, you won't regret it. If you're a returning subscriber, as always, guys, welcome back, and I do appreciate the support. Guys, I seen the story this morning, and I'm going to share it with you and get your guys' thoughts. So this is one of those videos where I'm going to get lit up in the comments section, I already know. And I want you guys to comment on this set of videos that you've seen. Whether you agree or disagree, you know, there are a lot of folks out here that get up in arms before a lot of stuff comes out. And they get these ideas in their head about what happened without them being there, so on and so forth. But you be the judge of this. This is a story that occurred on February 10th of this year out there in Hammond, Louisiana. Shout out Hammond. In which a man, I'm not going to show you what he looks like because he's in bad shape, but you'll see it in the video. His name is Bobby Ray McCaskey, 64 years old, from Ponchatoula, Louisiana. Shout out Ponchatoula. This man right here was pulled over by police, I guess. I don't even know if he was pulled over. Just he had an interaction with police in which he got bruised up pretty badly during the pursuit. And his family and the NAACP are alleging that he was beaten by police during his arrest. I want you to take a look at this stuff, and I put it all in a timeline type order according to how I found it. And you be the judge and leave me a comment after the video, not in the middle like some people do. And I'll be back with commentary. Take a look at this. This whole thing is a mess. This shouldn't even make news, in my opinion. Check it out.
Remains hospitalized tonight, days after a traffic stop by Hammond police. It happened earlier this month. The suspect's family says the actions by officers were excessive and they want answers. News 2's David Hamilton has both sides of the story, and we want to warn you, some of the images in this video can be disturbing.
Alexis, 64-year-old Bobby McCaskey's family says that while he did have a criminal history, he did not deserve to be in the hospital after police attempted to arrest him. Police say it could have been avoided if McCaskey had not ran. On February 10th, Bobby McCaskey was stopped by Hammond PD during an evening traffic stop. Police say he was involved in a drug deal.
Upon coming into contact with him, he ran from the police. He was tased. He was found to have cocaine in his hand, as well as there was more cocaine located in the vehicle. Look, clear statement is, don't sell drugs in Hammond, don't commit crimes, don't run from the police, and you don't have to worry about being tased.
According to Hammond police, the officer saw McCaskey reaching towards his waistline, so they deployed their taser. That's when McCaskey fell on asphalt. However, his family doesn't believe it. They say this is what he looks like now, still on a ventilator following an encounter with police more than a week ago.
I would like the body cam, the taser, and the camera. I asked questions. I asked what happened. It's still under investigation.
Looking at his injuries, y'all can clearly say anybody fall, you're not going to have that. He's still spitting out teeth to this day.
Yeah.
Hammond Police Chief Bergeron said he is certain McCaskey was not beat.
The false narrative that's being portrayed that our officers beat him, and then some of them even said that there were several white officers that beat him. Not that this matters, but it was an African-American officer. He was a single officer on scene when he made contact and tased this individual.
Bergeron also says McCaskey has a lengthy criminal history and that he chose to run from police. Family members say, though, he was not a violent man and doesn't deserve to be fighting for his life.
A crime or anything can justify these type of injuries or to use excessive force.
Police said there was another person in the car who took off running as well. It's unclear if they were caught or identified.
Hammond Police Department is being accused of beating a man during a traffic stop.
But the police chief says the accusations are false. Tonight, as that man recovers in the hospital, his family is demanding accountability.
Lily Cummings explains what we know, and we do want to warn you, some of these images are graphic.
Bobby McCaskey's family says the 63-year-old is in the ICU following multiple surgeries.
From the MRI reports, it showed that he had multiple strokes and his C-spine was crushed.
The family doesn't know exactly what happened before they found him in the hospital the night of February 10th.
The phone call we got that he was dead.
Hammond police say they pulled over a vehicle near Magazine and Apple Street that was registered to someone with an outstanding felony warrant. McCaskey and the passenger jumped out and ran, and officers chased them.
The officer says he believed that he was reaching towards his waistband, at which point he tased the subject. Upon tasing the subject, it was Bobby McCaskey. Mr. McCaskey hit the ground. Upon hitting the ground, he hit his head.
Hammond Police Chief Edwin Bergeron says officers rendered aid and called an ambulance. This video shot by a witness backs up that story, but it doesn't show what led to McCaskey's injuries. Bergeron says McCaskey has a criminal record and was in the middle of selling cocaine when officers stopped the car.
Although the injury is unfortunate, the false narrative that's been put out there that we had beat him or police brutality and all this other stuff, that's just not the case. If you don't run from the police, you don't commit the crimes, then you're not going to have this situation happen.
The family says McCaskey's injuries are severe, leaving them skeptical.
We were all relying on the body cam, the footage, to tell the story because he can't even talk.
We asked the chief when the footage would be released.
I'm not a believer in releasing that prior to our investigation because I don't want the investigation to be corrupted.
The family says until then, they won't rest. They believe officers used excessive force.
Keep posting, keep telling his story, keep giving the diagnosis and his progress from if it take 6 months, a year, 2 years, we up for the challenge.
In Hammond, Lily Cummings, WWL, Louisiana.
Traffic stop left him unresponsive and on a ventilator in the hospital over a week later. Our North Shore Bureau reporter Shawanda Jones joins us live from Hammond with the latest on his story. Shawanda?
Yeah, Hammond man is now in critical condition after being tased during a traffic stop. Now, there is an internal investigation underway, but the family of the man says there's more to this story. On February 10th, Bobby McCaskey was pulled over. Police ran his place and found an outstanding felony warrant and say he was involved in a drug deal at the time the officer pulled over the vehicle. Now, when the officer approached, we're told McCaskey ran and allegedly reached for his waistline. That's when that same officer tased him, sending him crashing into the ground, hitting his head on the concrete. And now he's unresponsive in critical condition. The NAACP says his family and the community deserves answers.
What we want is full transparency by the Hammond Police Department on what happened and what occurred that night during a traffic stop.
The Hammond Police Department says it cannot release video evidence at the moment as the investigation is still active, but they did release this statement saying, quote, "It is unfortunate that the suspect suffered an injury. The injury resulted from him hitting the ground and not from a beating, as is being alleged by some. If you don't sell drugs and don't run from the police, then you don't have to worry about getting tased." Again, this is an internal investigation currently underway. Reporting live from Hammond, I'm Shawanda Jones, WDSU News.
That's the story, and I'm about to hear it in the comment section, but I got to be honest with you, man. I mean, I try to be square with this. This whole thing is cap to me. I listen. Let's start from the top. This man is 64 years old and he's selling drugs in the street, trying to physically run from cops. 64 years old and your head is still in the street. He had a wife and was still doing that. You think she knew about that? Because, I mean, to sell drugs and all of that type of stuff, you got to be on what? On call. So you in and out the house at any given time to make them sales when you pumping it on the block or wherever you at. Come on. Come on. This is the thing with this. And this is the stuff that aggravates me about these type of situations dealing with police. Are police right all the time or wrong all the time? No. And I've seen some vicious police beatings that I spoke about that said, you know, that was truly fucked up. But this shit here shouldn't have never made the news, in my opinion. You 64 fucking years old. Bobby McCaskey. Lucky you alive. Said he had 2 strokes and his windpipe was crushed. Let's break something down. If you're 64 years old and you're running, hell, I'm 51, about to turn 52 on Friday. I almost fell on the steps and could barely get my hands down to break the fall. Imagine 64 years old, you trying to run from police. They tase you. Imagine running full speed and then getting tased. You know, that shit frees you up. And then all of a sudden, all that momentum and speed, you fall on your face. Look at the center line. It's conducive of somebody falling and slamming their head on the ground. Look at it. I don't know how you beat somebody's ass purposely and make it look like they fall by punching them in every part right here in the front and they stand there and take it. It makes no sense. Makes no sense. These people got a lot of people involved. They're standing in front of the thing. You ain't heard from no lawyer. You just hear from NAACP, a bunch of officials, and the family out there. The wife sound crazy. And no offense to you, ma'am. I know you're hurt and you know you want justice, but I don't know what justice you're looking for in an unjust act by your husband out there doing crazy shit at 64 fucking years old. She say, I want the body cam. I want the taser. I want the camera. What you gonna do with it? What are you going to do with it? They asked them when they going to release this footage, when they done the investigation. A relative said he's still spitting out teeth right now. Today's February 19th, so he's been spitting out teeth for 8 days. It's unfortunate that somebody's hurt. And when I say somebody, I'm not talking about the one that's hurt, the people that are around him that cared about him, regardless of what he did. That's unfortunate. But I mean, being disingenuous and getting up there and standing there, all of this basically to me is, and this is just my opinion, they want the results fast. They want to see the body camera. They can stand out there. They got a right to do that. Do all the stuff they do because they want to see the body cam. If they do an investigation, don't matter who you are, they're not going to let you see it until they're done figuring out if any wrong was done on the officer's part. Then the part that cracks me up, rumors start surrounding family members. Oh, a bunch of white people beat his ass up. It was whitey. Come to find out, said it was only a black officer on the scene that tased him. They called the ambulance and all that type of stuff. You know what I'm saying? I don't understand this. I mean, I would have to see the body camera, but from what is presented in these news articles, and like I just talk about the news articles. This whole thing sounds like a money grab. It do. And I'm just being honest with you. Sometimes being disingenuous or talking too fast before something comes out, you know, and saying you want justice and stuff like that. At the end, when it come out, the same people that be on the front line, justice for this, justice for that, ain't nowhere to be seen once what's real is real. And then it goes back to the same thing. Why was you even doing that at your age? You too old for that. We need to stop being dismissive out here and call stuff out, man. This whole thing should have never made the news. This is a cyclical type of scenario you see happening all the time when, you know, it deal with us as black folk and police. No matter what, it's almost like a script that we read that makes us do that type of shit. If something happened to one of my kids right now, God forbid, and it was an unjust act, I'm not standing in front of the the police station with a bunch of people representing organizations, and I'm standing there and they're chanting and cheering for me when I ain't even got the whole gist of the body camera and everything. It's not that time yet. And stuff like this, when it is found out that no wrong was done, it gets discredited. That's why you shouldn't do it in the beginning. They want to get the story out and all of this type of stuff, but looking at what's presented, the media interviewed you, they may show this, the cops say this, they said that, then all this revolves around common sense. For real. It's a lot of common thought when the bad guy get in trouble, but it ain't no common sense for the bad guy to not do what he did to get in trouble. Life is about cause and effect. Because you did this, the effect is that. And look at him now. 64 years old. Said he had a criminal past. Hell, I got a criminal past, but I learned from that shit. And I already know, once I want that one time, that was enough for me. Because that ain't even the environment where I'm being, and I don't like control like that. But some people run in the cyclical mindset, and it brings them right back to square one, getting them chains put on them. And in his case, he almost lost his life doing some dumb shit. That's all I got to say. You know what I'm saying? Stock Market Steve for the Dynamic Reason channel. As always, like, comment, share, and subscribe. We got to look at stuff for what it is. Dumb shit. For real. I mean, when it's a time to rally and do all of this stuff and be up in arms, it's a time for that. But sometimes to jump to conclusions and just do this and do that because people get on TV, they might talk. And I'm not just talking about these folks right here, or cry or say this or say that. A lot of stuff just runs. And the momentum builds up to make it look like it's in their favor. Then when the reality of the camera stuff come out, everybody fades into the shadows. I'll see you in the next video. Take care.